Hello, this is Beverly Gale with the Beverly Gale channel, a senior to senior channel. I made this video because I went through so much after my husband quickly passed away, and I was so confused about what I needed to do with my life and how to make myself more independent that I relied very heavily on my children and my friends to take me everywhere. After he died, I lost the use of my eyes and my car. What I went through was extremely difficult to find because there are no standardizations in any state on where all the services are located. But after going through it step by step myself and figuring out what I had done, I wanted to make this video to make it easier for those of you who want to regain some autonomy, some independence from having to contact family or friends every time you have to step out the door. There are a number of different services out there, but how do you find them? Well, stay tuned to this video. I think you'll find it informative because it will help you to find the right transportation and regain your independence. Hello, Beverly here again with a question. What happens when you become visually disabled and you no longer can drive? Well, if you're lucky enough to be living with family or friends, or your children are very close by, you can depend upon them for help. But many of us are more independent than that, and although we like to be around our family, we don't want to have to depend on them for everything. So what can we do? Well, that's the purpose of this video today, is to give you an overall view of what it is possible to be able to do no matter where you live. And in order to be able to do that, we need to consider a few things. As far as transportation is concerned, first of all, is it that you need to go to the doctor's office? Do you need to go shopping because you're out of food? Or do you just want to have the freedom to be able to go where you want to go and enjoy yourself for a while? Well, in all three of those cases, it can help you to know the types of transportation that are in your area. Now, some of the types of transportation that we're talking about could be buses. There are buses that are called fixed buses, and there are buses called paratransit buses. Now, a fixed bus, by its very nature, is a place where you can physically walk to it. There is a schedule. You can wait for a bus, hop on it, go wherever you go. And that's fine if you're capable of doing that and you're able to walk, and maybe you can or you can't. But there's another option, because along with the fixed bus system, in many areas there's what they call a paratransit bus. Well, the paratransit bus is the bus that allows you to be able to do the same thing as a fixed bus, except it picks you up at your door, which for many of us, as we are older and it gets icy out, if we live in a cold climate, that's pretty preferable. So this is a type of service that would be probably something you should investigate. Now, when I'm talking about buses and paratransit, I'm also referring to the L's and trains that go in and out of the big cities, not to the Amtraks that go across the country. So these are all services that are generally interconnected, but they are only one type of service. Another type of service is a taxi service. Well, that's pretty obvious, isn't it? Except that it sometimes can get very expensive depending on where you live and where you want to go. Well, in many towns today, there are taxi services that are discounted based on disability or service such as your age, and it's important to know how to find these as well. So that's what we need to do. Well, how do we ask the right question? Well, here is the question you should ask, and then I'll break down where you should try to go and ask that question. You should ask the question, what kind of transportation is available in my area? I am visually disabled and I am a senior. Visually disabled and being a senior are very key words in that sentence. And that's where you start. And the places you start, the first place would be, most obvious place, is your town, your city, your village, where you live, where you call home. Now, many of them may have one or all of these services available right within your area. And once you ask that question, you're on your way to becoming more independent. But if they say, well, we don't offer those services, Now, what do? Just hang up and say, okay, I'm stuck? Well, no. The next place to go is in some towns, in some states, they're called townships. In others, they're called boroughs. And you go to them and you ask that same question. And they may be able to help you with some form of the transportation. And if they can't, then you go to the county and you do the same thing with the same question. You will find that if you go through those 3 or 4 areas, that you will be able to get the answers that you desire and be able to maybe get a taxi service that is discounted or a bus service that's discounted or will pick you up at your door. These are all places that can help you to find some way to have a little more independence. You might also contact your church because many churches have their own buses and many times they have ways to pick up their seniors. It depends on the town. So don't forget to work with your church and even check with the local high schools, because one of the things the local high schools do in some areas is that they give credits towards graduation for acts of kindness. And that would include the ability for a senior, as part of their acts of kindness credits, to come and maybe take you to shop. It's always worth asking. The worst they can say is no. But if they have a program like that, you never would have known about it if you hadn't listened to this video. So these are the ways that you can find out how to go about getting extra ways to get around without having to depend on family and friends, and allow you to have some of the freedom that you had before you lost your sight. This is a short video, but I hope it's succinct enough that it gives you hope that there are ways out there that you can find other ways to get around. Oh, one of the things is that in the federal government they give grants, and they're not always easy to locate, but in many towns there are grants given for medical appointments. So you have to go back to your city, your township, and your county and ask the question, is there some form of grant that has been given to a particular organization that would get me to and from my medical appointments? Usually it's medical appointments and not fun stuff, but it's certainly worth asking that question. Well, I hope this was a little bit informative. I hope it helped you. And it is a little daunting to have to ask these questions and have to hunt for this stuff. So my suggestion is, if your kids live nearby, have them watch this video and let them do it for you. Because after all, you spent a lot of time and changed a lot of diapers. It's their turn to take over. In the meantime, you have a wonderful day, and we will talk to you next time. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to hear more. Until next time, I am Beverly Gale. I am too coping with blindness and trying to figure it all out and sharing it with you. Bye for now.